Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Motorcycle Rewind. Today we're going to do something a little different. I'm going to share with you the tools that I use when I'm assessing the value of a motorcycle. I want to make sure that I buy it at a good enough price so that if I want to move it on, that there's room on the top. These are some of the tools that I use. Let's go ahead and dig in. The first thing I do is Google. Let's say I'm looking for a Honda CB550 and I type in value. And right off the bat, it'll run the range from poor to excellent. So you see right here, these are from NADA, and it's going to show you exactly what the value is. Let's say excellent is going to be $3,400 on down to fair at $1,100. So it depends on what I'm looking to buy it at. That's where I start, right? So I start there. Now, you can look down, you click on NADA here, in this one, and it'll take me to, again, the same prices. This gives me a good spot to look at and say, okay, what am I looking at? What's it worth? What can I do? What can I get from it, right? And if I go back to this, my original Google search, if I scroll down just a little bit further, I'm looking for Haggerty, right? So here, and this is going to pull up right here. It's going to have 1975 Honda CB550 for K1. Now I can look at other models. Let's just stick here, right? It's going to show you it ranges from Concourse at $6,900 down to $1,300 in fair. The really good thing about this is if I click on the little info button, it tells me what to look for. And if I go even further, it'll show me even more about what's there. Then if I scroll down a little bit further, from 1971 to 1978, 350, 400, 500, and 554 stats. Most recent sale, there was one for $11,813. The highest sale was $13,912 that they have listed here. So that's where I go. That's where I start, right? To really be able to start to dig in. Now, if I look at, let me dig right here just for 1 second. How do we calculate these prices? Right here, right in the middle. If I hit learn more, it tells you values by condition. So this is what they're looking for in condition. This is what they're looking for in excellent. So if you're going to look at a motorcycle and you're seeing that, oh, it's not quite where I think it should be, then these are valid points that you can bring up when looking at. Let's say somebody has it priced at Concourse, but it's really not Concourse level. Then that's where you can use that to help you negotiate the price down, to make it more affordable. So being able to look through those things and being able to see it. Now, I don't just go to Google and then NADA and Haggerty. I go a step further because you want to value it based on what have people sold it for, right? So then I go to Bring a Trailer. I love Bring a Trailer because it's kind of a premium eBay, if you will, right? So I'm going to type in the same thing, still looking at a Honda CB550, right? Type it in the search and I'm going to pull it up. And it says 22 search results. And I just look here. Let me zoom in to make this a little easier for you guys. And I just look here and it shows a 4.3 of 22 just a couple of weeks ago. We had one sell for $6,100. 327.22, a 75 sold for $13,250, right? So you go back December, I'm looking here. December of 75 CB550 sold for $11,000. And yes, I understand we're going to be looking at condition, but we can dig further and look into, okay, let's look at this one. Well, let's look at this one right here, $13,000. We can look at pictures, we can read about it, see what it is, and then especially if you have one of these, right? If you have one of these motorcycles, you can say, okay, this is what the value of my collection is worth, right? Being able to see it. I can look, I've got condition pictures. The other key thing is not only can I look at what is the value of mine worth, but what would it be worth if I put a little time, energy, and effort into it. That's where it really starts to make a difference on valuing up your collection, which is what I like to do, right? I want to take the collection I have and how can I make it worth the most amount without spending the the most amount, right? Again, so how can I increase the value of my assets and or my collection to make it look better? So far we've looked at Hagerty, we've looked at NADA and Google, and then I go one step further, right? Now again, before I go to the next step, again, there are other ones listed here on Bring a Trailer going all the way back. I think they range from about $3,500 all the way up to $13,000, somewhere in there. So find one that sits around. But then you can also look at the time. This one right here that we're looking at right here is this 76 CB550, $5,400. Now we can dig into it and see what the difference is, because the one right next to it was $6,000 a month before. So being able to understand what's the difference in those two motorcycles, and again, if you have one, how does it compare? Now I like to take it one step further, and I like to go to auctions. Auction sites, the one I use the most is the Mecum auction site, because they do an auction every year. So the good thing is you can go back in time and see you can start to spot trends in some of these motorcycles, and you can go, oh, okay, it's good to buy this now because it may be moving up. Right, so let's go. I'll click here, I'll go into motorcycles, and I'll hit results. Now, you will have to go into both Hagerty and to Mecum and just sign up for an account. It costs $0. All you have to do is give your email away, right? That's all you have to do, and you can get to more information. Because without it, going into the Mecum site, you don't get the results of what things paid for. So I'm going to go to the Las Vegas one, because that has the widest range of different types of motorcycles, right? They're not all turn of the century stuff. It's a wider range of motorcycles. I tend to go there. And it tends to be more of a layperson, not a collector, but more of a layperson. It could come in, so it's going to give you more of I believe, more of an accurate assessment or an accurate appraisal of what they're worth. So if I hit auction search right here, and I'm just going to type in Honda. Actually, I'm just going to type in CB550, and I'm going to hit search. And I'm going to pull up 3 searches, and they went for, again, this was last in January of 2022, $6,200 for 75, $7,700 for 74, and a 554 that sold for $14,000. Right, to be able to see the difference, looking at what's there. Now, when you're looking at Mecum, is you want to make sure you add the premium back to it. So this $14,000, this CB554 Super Sport, you're going to have to add 10% to that, so another $1,400. So this thing went for $15,700, right? So that's the looking at the value and looking at the assessment. So let's look at these two, $6,200 and $7,700. That's a good range, looking at what's there. Now, the great thing about this auction search is I can go back in time. So if I go back to Las Vegas Motorcycles 2021, again, I'm going to search the same thing, CB550, and I'll pull up some other ones. So you see they went up in value. It could be this Honda CB554. If you would have bought this one the year before at $4,000, you remember that thing went up to $14,000 is what it sold for. So let's say if it went up and it went up half as much, if it sold for $8,000, you made money on it, right? Do a little time, a little investment in elbow grease and making it right, the right market, the right time, being able to see this. So these two 550s, it could be that they're from 78 and 79 that drove the price down. But if we go back to 2022, we see it right here, hit search. We're looking at $6,200, but these are for early CB550s. So you have to make sure you're comparing apples to apples, right? Looking at all the same, because all CB550s aren't created the same and created equal, i.e. the CB554 Super Sport versus the a 77 CB550. Just a normal CB550. So it's being able to see the difference, and that's what we're looking at. So these are the tools that I like to use when I'm looking at valuing my collection, to looking at, if I'm looking to buy a motorcycle, what are they selling it for? What's the upside? Because I always want to buy a motorcycle, regardless of whether I'm planning to keep it or not. I need to buy it with upside, right? I don't want to buy it at the top of the market. I don't want to buy it at retail. I want to buy it as close to wholesale as I can, and I can use these tools to be able to help me do that, especially when you get into what defines, somebody's offering you something at concourse price, hey, it's fully restored, right? It's 100% perfect, but then when you go and look at it, it's not. Well, then you have to ding it for that, because you can't pay a premium for something that's not a premium. So as I went through all the tools that are used to help me assess the value of these motorcycles, you will notice the one that I did not use was Facebook. Meaning, do not go on a forum and go, hey, what's the value of this motorcycle? Because it seems like they never want to give you the truth, right? It seems like they always want to tell you it's worth a whole lot less so that they can try to buy it. Whereas it's like your neighbor coming to you and say, hey, what's my house worth? And you saying that it's a piece of crap, it's not worth anything, right? I want my neighbor to sell their house for $10 million, right? They sell it for $10 million, that means mine's going to be worth more, right? It's understanding that. But when you go on your Facebook group for whatever you're in, and you go, hey, somebody want to help me assessing the value of my motorcycle, what's this worth, right? What's this worth? And they go, oh, it's not worth anything. It's a piece of junk. It's this, because they want to buy it for you. It's like they're trying to lowball you, and it's not, you hadn't even posted it for sale, right? So do yourself a favor, just avoid that, because that's just going to give you frustration. Okay, guys. That's it. I want to thank you for taking the time to watch this video. Do me a favor, like, tag, follow, and share, and subscribe. You can follow us on Instagram at Motorcycle Rewind. Thanks again, guys, and have a great day.